Well guys, today is the day that our twin turbo time capsule Nissan 370Z starts and runs for the first time. Hopefully, well at least that's the goal. We got Christian here with the truck. He's about to load up the 370Z and take it over to Strada Motorsports, who's gonna be working on it. They're experts when it comes to high horsepower Nissan builds. Check that out. Our neighbor just left his hangar. I'm trying to get on that level. Forget twin turbo 370Zs. I'm trying to get twin turbine Learjets. God dang. All right. So Christian's gonna back the truck right up to the 370Z. Got the blue Boxster. Gosh, I love this thing so much. I've driven it a couple times. Now that it's all done, paint corrected, beautiful. But speaking of beautiful and perfect condition, we got the 370Z here. Let's help Christian here because I forgot the key at home, so we can't start it. Can only push it. Okay, there we go. Hey, not too far. All right, there we go. You guys obviously know this car from part 1 and 2. You guys have been killing this series. Everybody loves this car. So last video, we learned all about the crazy modifications on this car, the twin turbo kit, all that, but still we don't know much about it. We don't exactly know what brand the kit is. We don't know who installed the kit. We don't know how much power it makes. We don't know what fuel it's tuned for. We don't know anything about this car. And the biggest one of all, we have no idea why this car only has 2,800 miles and why it was donated to charity. That is until today. Guess what, guys? I got in touch with the previous owner of this car. I found his name on some of the paperwork that was left inside the glove box. And what do you know? I started looking on Google and I found a LinkedIn of this guy who is from Washington, where this car was from, and now lives in Arizona. So I'm like, this has got to be the guy. On top of that, I found a phone number that was related to his name online. And I put it in my phone, and sure enough, it was an iMessage blue, iPhone number. So I was like, shoot, this must be his cell phone number. So I reached out, and I got the entire scoop on this car. This solves so many of those big question marks we had in part 1 and part 2. So let's get into it. Thank goodness we have the Futura trailer that lays flat on the ground. Complete trailers, hooked it up in California. And now it's incredibly clutch for the 370Z because it's non-running. It would be a pain in the butt to get it up on a standard trailer. But this one that lays completely flat on the ground, which you'll see in just a second, it makes going on so easy. Okay, before I get talking about what the previous owner said, check this out. Taking off the front bumper so we can drop it off at the paint shop to get that nasty plasti dip off and to repair just a couple light little scuffs and nicks. Oh snap. Wow, look at that. We get to see the inner workings of this kit. Okay, do we have a brand name? Ah, this is Greddy 2. Okay, so yep, that's exactly right because he said it does have a Greddy Twin Turbo kit. So look at that huge intercooler. That's a lot jammed into there. No wonder he put on the Nismo bumper. Let's clean this up real quick so the shop gets a nice shiny front end to match that nice shiny front engine bay. Gotta have it all super clean. And if anything, this gives them more room to work on the car. So this is great. Knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. Bumper to paint, car to get running. Okay, there you have it. One freshly loaded twin turbo 370Z ready to go to the doctor's office to make it run again. Inside the 6.0 we go. Okay, so everybody has been asking for an update on our 6.0 that was stolen, probably by the cartel. As you guys know, we recovered it. It was all beat up. We had to do a lot of work cleaning it up. It was terrible, disgusting. Obviously, there's still, a lot of remnants with scratches. The bumper's still dented up and stuff, and this is broken. So, it is what it is. They beat the crap out of it, but at least we have it back and we can still use it for towing. You guys remember how terrible it was in here? I mean, it partially cleaned up. Like, obviously the stains and stuff and the dirt is all still, messed up on our logos of this custom interior that Richmond Upholstery did, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. It obviously could have gone much, much worse. So now it's just gonna kind of be used as a beater truck, I guess. One day we're gonna take it up to Montana and just have it as like a winter, work truck as we're building our house up there. So there you go, there's the update on the 6.0. Everybody's been curious about it. Okay, we're 7 minutes out, so perfect opportunity for me to share with you guys the text message conversation between us and, we'll call him Bob. Okay, Bob is the previous owner. So I say, hi, is this Bob? My name is Jeff, and I just bought what I think is your old 370Z. It would really help if you could provide some information on it. Any reason it was driven so little since 2014? Any info on the build and the twin turbos? Any other information would be greatly appreciated. I told him it's now in great company with many other cool cars still in the state of Arizona, so he knows it's local and going to a good home. So to my disbelief, like 5 minutes later, he responds, Jeff, it was driven so little because I ordered a heavy duty clutch and a bigger fuel pump, and then I moved down to Arizona for a new job rather quickly. I had already paid for the clutch and the pump, but had no extra time to install it. I also bought a BMW M4, which took my attention away. So clearly he got a new ride, he got a little distracted, and he's a busy guy with kids, I found out. He says part of the reason he sold it was because now with kids, he didn't want to kill himself in it. He says it was so stinking fast. He says it's a beautiful car. It has the Greddy Twin Turbo kit with exhaust. It puts out very little boost, I think around 6 PSI, and it made 585 horsepower and 535 pound-feet of torque to the wheels, which is absolutely nuts on 6 PSI. I feel like it had to have been more than PSI, or he's talking crank horsepower. I got 3 seconds 0 to 60 times consistently. All it needs is the upgraded clutch and pump. It has cooled seats, pretty much every single option. I bought that car brand new. You can burn rubber at 70 miles an hour in 4th gear. Let me know if you have any other questions. The sync rev match is really cool. And they finished it by saying, really glad it went to a great home. So, bam, that is just golden. Having this information is huge, because now we know who made the twin turbo. Obviously it's a Greddy Twin Turbo kit. Pretty sure it was like $11,000 plus install, of course. So, I mean, this Bob guy dropped a ton of money making this car into what it is today. Christian, were you surprised that I got, you know, his contact info and I figured all this out?
That was pretty good. I'm just happy that there's a reason for such low mileage. It's not like the car never ran or the engine blew or anything like that. And now I'm wondering if he's got the clutch and he's got the fuel pump, is he gonna sell it to us, give it to us?
Yeah, if he's local, can we buy those upgraded pieces that he said he already bought, or did he sell them? Where are they? Because they're not in the trunk. You're right, good question. I'm gonna have to ask him about that. But now having the peace of mind knowing that that engine isn't blown up, that was our big worry. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, you just built up this car with all this power and all this boost, and then boom, you run it, you blow the thing up. What do? You park it in your garage saying one day I'll get to rebuilding it, never get around to it, and then just, you know, get rid of it, give it to charity, and be done with it. That would make sense. I was very worried about that. But here, clearly that was not the reason why. So thank goodness, bless up. I followed up with a few other questions, saying like, what fuel did you have it tuned for? And he hasn't replied to those yet, and it's been a week. So I don't know, either he didn't get those messages or he is annoyed with us. I don't know. No, he seems like a really chill guy. I'm sure he's just busy. But anyway, hopefully we get him to reply to a few last questions that we have about the car. But really, that's all we needed to know that it will come back to life. It just needs some upgrades, but this is a great 2-for-1 package. We get to make it run again while also upgrading the clutch, fuel pump, run more power, more boost maybe, and it has a clutch to now back it up. So hopefully by the time we add those parts with Strada here and they throw them on and get it running again, this thing will be tearing up the street. So let's go meet up with Matt. Bam, there we go. He's got the lift all ready for us. He's ready to get going on it.
2 weeks later.
Alrighty guys, it's just 2 weeks later. Matt says come on down, and right on cue, the Yokohama tires just arrived. So we're gonna load them up in a vehicle bigger than this Boxster and head up to the shop. Can't wait to see it. These tires are gonna be super sticky, which will be great for putting down all of this power.
Speaking of the power, he said, guys, with the tires that were on there, it was so sketchy to tune this car because he had to like log it and do some full throttle pulls. He said it would lose traction at 70 miles an hour in 4th gear on the highway. That's how much power this car has. So I'm so excited for this first drive with the proper tires, of course, before we get behind the wheel. And this thing is going to rip. We haven't heard it, we haven't seen it run in action, so we are beyond excited for this moment. Hope you guys are too. Let's go head to the shop and see what all Matt did to the car. Alrighty, a couple cars y'all can't see yet. Ignore those, but bam. Okay, we got the tire vehicle, the Bentley. This should fit. Oh, come on. Oh, all right, the battery wasn't dead, just low. All right, that should work. That can fit 4 tires. Okay, probably can't, but we'll put them in the rear seat. Oh yeah, check it out. These are Yokohama's new Advan Nova 8009s. This replaces the 8008s, which were very popular, and these were just released and they're super sticky. So I'll be super excited to put these to the test. And this should easily put down all that twin turbo power. All right, just rolled up, check it out. We are reunited with the 370Z. Oh, I've missed you. Ignore the car on the lift. Okay, here she is, still dirty. We still need to give it a full detail. Don't worry, my buddy Rolando's gonna come by to polish the paint and really unlock that 2,900 mile paint. And then Christian's putting the Bentley around back so that we can get this car up on the lift. So we're going with 255 40 19s up front, 275. So yeah, 10 millimeters wider. But these tires also run very large. They say they usually run about 10 millimeters wider than other tires. So we're probably adding more like 20 millimeters, which will really fill out that space nicely. It'll still fit on the rim well, and it'll give us more traction. All right, guys, and just like that, old tires off, new tires on. Check out the new look. I love the design, just the tread pattern. Look at it now when you're behind the car. That just looks so much more aggressive. We were commenting how the old tires look like all season, just economy car tires. Like the tread pattern just looks so boring. So this really gives a nice aggressive look. Not that it really matters, but that's one thing I noticed.
Kind of looks like our green Lambo. I love showing that off with no rear bumper.
So a little bit wider. As you can see, it's not too wide. I didn't want them flying off the side of the rim, bulging out too much, you know, beyond like the quarter panel or whatnot. So
just right.
I agree. I think it's perfect. Just a little bit past the rim, so it'll protect the rims if we ever get too close to a curb. Not that that'll ever happen. And these are the lightweight Ray forged wheels, of course, so as part of the sports package, which also gives you the bigger front brakes. But anyway, I know you guys want to hear about all the work that was done, and that's why we're lucky Matt is right here. The man, you made this happen. Thank you so much once again for the 2 weeks of hard work. So what did you do? Because it was a little harder than any of us thought, right? A lot more to it.
Pretty much, what didn't I do?
I like that a lot more. Okay, so we brought it in saying that, hey, we're not sure the last time this thing ran, and it's been sitting, and it's super low mileage. Get it running and driving again. You did that and more.
So you brought me a car that's been sitting for like, what, 6-7 years?
Probably, yeah.
You know, it never really ran, I guess, from what I could tell, and they did run it, but there was no tuning on it whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's a Greddy kit. You have to tune it. They have a piggyback setup, but they didn't even have the piggyback setup. So I don't even know how they even drove the car, honest to God, because there was zero tuning. It's just a stock ECU, it's stock program.
Jeez.
You know, the fuel pumps and had to be replaced, and the lines had to be blown out, and then we had to do the injectors. But what I didn't expect is when I got to the gas tank, like a bomb went off.
Well, let's take a look at it. So I was like, I don't think we need to like drop the tank. Like I'm sure it's probably good. Like there's half a tank of gas in there. Let's just add some cleaner through it and we'll be good, right? Yeah, thank goodness Matt said absolutely not. We're gonna pull it off and look at that. Disgusting.
All that rust. Look at all
That's
that.
unreal. All that junk in the bottom. We would have, running that through your engine and fuel system, we would have caused so many additional problems.
Yeah, the fender.
It's frozen. Completely rusted. There was so much rust in this tank. I've never seen so much rust in a tank. I mean, it's absolutely insane. There was nothing usable. Plastic was breaking apart on this. You know, the sending unit, this is for the fuel gauge. It's just literally frozen. This should be freely bouncing up and down by itself, and I got to literally put a lot of pressure on it just to move it.
Thank goodness we didn't try to start it.
Yeah, that's crazy because like the old Gran Torino or some of those old cars, you see people firing those things up after 10 years of sitting, 20 years of sitting. How did this go so wrong?
All right, well, thank goodness you made the right call dropping that. You found a used one for like 150 bucks.
Yeah.
Used tank, right?
It wasn't easy because the forklifts in the junkyards, they crush them a lot of times when they're moving the cars around.
Right.
So I actually found 5, but this is the only good one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jared Garage
Yeah.
Special, you know what's up.
Yeah, probably would have been a lot more than that, brand new. So what else?
Downstream O2 sensor wires were chewed through by rodents. So the rodents got in other places too. Like there's an access when you change the fuel pumps on these Z's, you got access from the inside. There's a panel behind the seat you pop up, and then you access the fuel tank from there. Well, there was a whole nest of a little food store back there, right? That I had to use the vacuum to suck all out. When I went to do the injectors, because we got to do the injectors, there was a dead mouse underneath the engine cover with this little nest underneath the engine cover right here.
Jeez.
Right? And then there was 2 more deceased mice down below the cross member on the subframe below the motor.
So you had to play mechanic and exterminator.
Yeah.
All right.
And luckily they didn't get in the car. Right? If they got in the car, it would have been a real nightmare. But they never got in the car, which is good.
That's good.
But they did have a couple little places to hang out.
Obviously all new fluids and
Yes.
there was a couple oil leaks that you addressed.
Yeah, so when they put this kit together, they they didn't do the best job, so I had to go back over a lot of stuff. One of them was the T-fitting that feeds the oil to the turbos. It was leaking pretty bad. There was caked on dust and dirt that was stuck to the oil, that oil leak that would spray back in the oil pan and on the frame. That all had to be cleaned off, and I had to pull that T apart. I had to go through there. I had to get some more parts just to make it correct, and I put it back together there, so there's no more oil leak, and I cleaned everything up.
Nice.
It's the Greddy kit. So all that stuff came with the kit. It doesn't have any blow-off valves. It's got the wastegates down below, all right? And they got, from Greddy, they come with 7-pound springs.
Yeah, so if you guys know these twin turbo builds, what kind of horsepower do you think this car would be making with 7 pounds of boost? And then also, what's the safest level we can turn it up to on the stock motor? Could we go 10, 12? I don't know, comment down below.
So they got tile wastegates that Greddy uses. Good wastegates, 7-pound springs. Tranny had to come out as well. But some of the bolts, they put studs in with the pipe that the wastegates bolt to, and they had that all boogied up. They were snapped, so I had to fix that as well.
When I reached out to the previous owner, he said, oh yeah, one of the reasons I parked it is it needed an upgraded clutch and bigger injectors. So those of which you did, and we ordered through South Bend Clutch. Great clutch.
Yeah, so when you guys came down, we pretty much discussed what it needed: the injectors, a fuel pump, better clutch, better flywheel, so on and so forth. So you contacted South Bend, which I recommended that South Bend's the best clutch to put in there. Yeah. And you reached out to them, so they hooked you guys up with a really good setup. They gave you a lightweight flywheel. They gave you the right heavy-duty clutch to put up with the torque from these turbos, which is exactly what you needed. And the stuff is always top-notch from South Bend.
Heck yeah.
With the stock clutch, it would have blown apart in no time. It would have been ugly. Plus, the stock flywheels in these things are god-awful. So we got the clutch in there. We got new downstream O2s. To replace the ones the rodents chewed through. We
will start up in just a second, guys, and then of course the first drive is happening in just a minute, which might be next video for you guys, but we'll get the start up on video.
Tuning was, I expected it to be not real big of a problem. I use Ecutech. Ecutech's a great product. I flashed it, but the problem was this. All right, I flashed it, started getting into the tuning, and the MAP sensors on these things are on the charge pipes. And the MAP sensors are supposed to be on the intakes. All right, this is basically the same as a GTR. This motor, it's close, little different cues, but I mean, on a GTR, the maps are on the intakes, and maps are there because they're there to measure the air coming into the motor through the intakes, not to measure boost or anything on the charge pipes. So why Greddy put these things on the charge pipes, I have no idea. So what was happening was every time boost came in, the car would go super rich because the maps just didn't know what the hell to do. All right, they're used to being air pulled through, but they're not used to positive pressure or boost, building up in the pipe, and they were just wigging out. So this thing's going like probably 8 to 1, 7 to 1, shooting flames out back. Raw fuel, backfire.
Yeah, it sounds great. Pop and crackle tune for free.
It was insane. It was just completely nuts. So I had to figure out a solution to get around that. Now, luckily with Ecutech, I can do a hybrid tune. So this is a MAP sensor set up on this car, but I can also do a hybrid where it runs off the MAPs when it's not under boost, and now it runs off of speed density, right, when it is in boost. Right? Speed density is another way to tune fuel injection. It runs off the MAP sensor and the load off the map and the RPM, and tells it pretty much what's going on, and it runs off a thing called a volumetric efficiency table. And you start to dial in all the VE tables, right? And when it switches over from MAP to the VE, once you get everything dialed in, it runs perfect. So now all the fuel's where it's supposed to be. We're not backfiring at the back anymore. It's not freaking going crazy, and the thing runs like a crazy animal.
You set up multiple tunes, and you said we can adjust them through the steering wheel or something?
There's 2 maps on here now. There's there's a 100 octane map, and there's also a pump gas map. All right.
Beautiful.
And then 2 more maps can be added down the road as well. But and we're going to make some changes to the maps anyway, because we're going to put this thing on the dyno. Right?
Heck yeah.
And we're going to dial it a little bit more in on the dyno and see what you got and see how much power.
Stay tuned for the next video, guys. This thing's going on the dyno. Comment down below right now. Actually, we'll do closest guess to the accurate wheel horsepower gets a free t-shirt. So comment down below what kind of power you think this thing makes. The Ecutech app that you had me download, so you set it up with me, just say my car. So it's live diagnostics, and you can change the tune through here and stuff?
Yeah, so you can do map switching through the Ecutech app. You can do data logging.
Okay, bingo. Wow. So look at all these options. Oh, that's cool.
Hold cancel on your cruise. So hold it down.
Hold cancel.
And watch the tack. So right now, the tack's pointing to what? Number 2?
2,
so
yeah,
you're on map number 2. Now toggle down. Now you're on map number 1.
Look at that.
Gas map. So you go switching back and forth from maps.
How many can you have? Can you have 7 maps?
You can have 4 maps plus valet mode. And you have valet mode in this too. You toggle up again. That's valet mode.
All right, well, let's keep it on map 2. And it runs, so I can start it up right now.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Wow. Top is down, we are ready for our first drive, but unfortunately for you guys, that's gonna have to be next video. This video is too long. I know you guys' time is valuable and you gotta get to bed or something or get to your job, so stay tuned for next video because that will be the full first drive. You worked wonders, Matt. Thank you so much. We would not have gotten this car running ourselves. Without further ado, we're gonna take it out. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode. Subscribe so you don't miss the first drive and all the other content with all of our other cars in the garage. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.